welcome to another episode of Where's Catering. Today we have Kevin Freeman, a renowned production manager currently on tour with Brad Paisley, and he's a longtime friend of SES and my family and has been a mentor to me for the past 10 years.
Good to be here, man. Good to get to visit. I don't get to see all the guys that I run around with so much anymore here. We've kind of been on break since about March. We went out and did the streaming show at the steel mill there in Nashville, and golly, it was like a family reunion. It was good. It was good to get to hang with everybody again. So
I'm sure it was. I can't wait to get back to a show and just any show, just watch from front of house and see everybody that I've gotten to know over the past 10 years doing this. It was such a hard cutoff. You didn't get to say goodbye to anybody. It was just go home and wait it out.
Like our rigging company, when we did the steel mill thing, I called to order up the motors and all the rigging stuff, and our rep there said, well, it's still right on the loading dock where it was because we figured that Brad would be the first one back out.
Wow. Awesome.
So.
Well, we'll dive in here to the questions. And the first one is kind of what made you want to start doing this? What made you want to be a production manager?
Well, I was a frustrated drummer to begin with. But, a mediocre sound guy could make a pretty decent living. And so, from drums to being the sound guy to, being production manager with Brad, I was the first one here. I was the first crew guy he hired, and just kind of took the bull by the horns and ran with it. I really have not regretted selling the drums and buying the computer to be a production manager over being a musician. It's none of it has the reliability, the benefits, anything like that. We're in the music business. We're kind of, especially right now, kind of wondering how long we're going to be out of work and when we get to go back and do shows and all that. But when the whole career's over with, we're going to have better stories than anybody.
That's for sure. Talking about those stories, what's one of those great stories you can think of? One of those you can't make this up moments.
There have been so many of them, and usually, we rehash those things on about every trip we make on the buses when you get all the guys up front and everybody's kind of going, well, you think that's cool? I did this, or this happened to me, or whatever,
Yeah.
I think I had talked about one we did with your company at Lake Travis in Austin back in 2010. Aptly named the H2O tour. For one thing, we started the year with a flood, and which happened 2 weeks before the tour started. So we had to get all new band gear and kind of get everything back and going. But we ended up doing a show in Lake Travis. We used your stage, and I remember the front legs were in Lake Travis. Yeah. It's funny because seeing some of the guys that work, for, SES and was it G2 then?
Yeah, I think it was still Summit then. We became G2 at the end of 2010.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, seeing the guys that work for your staging company, with, a snorkel and a mask and fins and everything, diving down to make sure that that the legs weren't sinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the front of that stage because we had those two angled thrust. And when we did the site survey, we went out and measured the depth for the stage left side. But the stage right side, we didn't. And at load-in, we found out that they had dredged out the stage right side. So what we thought was going to be 18 inches to 2 feet of water ended up being like 8 to 10 feet of water we had to build the end of that thrust out in.
Well, I think what we ended up doing, was our center thrust, I think, was going to be about 80 feet long.
Yeah.
And, trying to figure out where to put front of house. So we just did the floating pier out to 120 feet. And, I was set up on a floating pier. There was, boats all around me. There were, people all around me. It was people's soup for the whole, from front of house to the stage. It was, very deep in people only, everybody just hanging out. It was a memorable show. Another show that I did that there was water between front of house and the stage. And this would have been, God, you would have been a little boy. And I did this with your dad. We did a show in Charlotte right after Hugo.
Okay. Yeah.
And, I think I was with Billy Dean at that time. And, we got everything set up and, got everything dialed in on stage. I had to go front of house, and the water was about 1.5 feet deep between the stage and front of house. So just, basically, roll your pants up and trudge on out,
I remember the last few of those Charlotte shows that we did. I was really young at the time and just tagged along with Dad, but we always had weather at those shows for some reason.
I remember doing a show one time up in Illinois, and tornado went right to the parking lot. Of course, we were under the stage, and it was at that time it was a permanent stage, so it was pretty scary. The PA was flopping around, and I don't think we lost anything. So maybe some lighting, but scary stuff there. Something that you reminded me of too was hanging a 6-foot mirror ball in Gillette Stadium. We did that. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. That one, and the Lake Travis, Texas show was, they were a couple of my first gigs. Then we had a gig in New York City with Dave Matthews that those three were like my first taste into full-time work. Oh, and they were all three. Yeah, they were all three wild in their own way. We got on the Dave show, we got run off the island by Hurricane Irene right in the middle. We had done day one of the 3-day festival, and the mayor shut us down the morning of day 2, and I had to get everybody and everything off Governor's Island in a hurry.
Wow.
Like, if you could only tell somebody my age or somebody younger than me just coming out on the road for the first time, maybe they're on your tour as like the 4th audio guy or whatever, but they want to be you. They want to be the next Kevin Freeman. What's one thing if you could only tell them one thing, what would that one thing be?
Don't lose sight of the fact that it is a business. It is a business. It's, I mean, there are certain lifestyles that go around what we do, but typically the people that embrace those lifestyles instead of doing their job that they were hired to do don't tend to hang around very long. It's don't make it your life, make it what you do for a living, and be very serious with it. It is fun. I mean, we get to see more in a month than most people see in a lifetime. But again, it is a business, And if I'm telling an artist that, not a crew guy, but if I'm telling an artist that, I tell them it's money driven, not talent driven. It's not how good you are; it's how much money can you make me.
Right.
You can be a horrible act that sells a lot of tickets, and you'll work from now on.
That's certainly the truth, and we see that quite a bit.
Yeah. One other piece of advice would be to try to learn as much about every part of it as you can. Whether you don't try to do other people's jobs for them, no, but try to understand what the riggers are doing, what the lighting guys are doing, what the video guys are doing, audio guys, and try to make sure that you can see the big picture it's made up of a bunch of little pictures, you know. You don't be afraid to ask questions either, you know. You go over there and don't be a jerk or anything, but say, can I ask why you do this a certain way? And you know, almost always you'll get an answer, you know.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of day they're having, you may not get. But
Sure.
I would say, you know, just try to learn as much as you can. I mean, you know, learn what bus drivers, truck drivers, you know, learn what all these guys do, you know. It's
Yeah.
it amazes me to watch the catering guys. Those guys work harder than anybody.
Yeah.
You know, they come, they're at 5 o'clock in the morning, they leave at 9:30 at night, go to the next one and start over again, and they don't stop.
For sure.
Yeah, learn as much as you can about what everybody else is doing. But no, I'm real happy with your success. I think you're doing a fine job doing what you're doing, and you know, it's kind of, you know, watching your dad stand back and go, okay, he's getting it.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and you have had no small part in that. And I definitely thank you for helping me along the way. So, well, thank you, Kevin, for coming on again and for the stories and tips. There's only a few production managers in the Nashville loop that I know that as soon as somebody goes on the road for the first time, they want to be on one of those tours, and your tour is one of those. Like, it doesn't matter what they're doing; they could be the pit camera operator or the last guy on the audio team or whatever. They want to tour with Kevin Freeman.